I think it's interesting that prominent white male leftist TikToker Lolo, Lol Overruled, getting outed as a sex pest, has brought back to the forefront this conversation about how we need a Joe Rogan of the left. And I know I've been ranting about this on Blue Sky for the last couple of days, and I've been saying it for a really long time, but men on the political left, they arrive there because capitalism was harming them. They were injured by capitalism. They aren't necessarily there because the patriarchy has harmed them or white supremacy. So you find men who are on the political left who have done fuck all when it comes to unpacking their racism and their misogyny, and also their ableism and their childism as well. Like there's nothing that has driven that for them, right? You can be on the political left. You can be pissed at capitalism. You can want to try to fight against, imperialism and the oligarchy, blah, 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 blah. Just because you are a working class man who has been hurt by capitalism, that does not obligatorily mean that you have done any work at all to deconstruct from or even attempt to understand all the other forms of systemic oppression that are harming everybody else and that you benefit from. And again, it is entirely my biased opinion. I have had enough interactions with enough dudes on the left who are not safe for women, who just with not even any provocation, just a little bit of disagreement, and they'll call you a bitch. Absolutely misogynistic, dehumanizing things about women will come out of their mouths. Violent things that they think about women will come out of their mouths in casual conversation. They won't see that it's a problem. And I do think that their propensity to dehumanize women and the way that they resort to violent rhetoric against women, or any group that they have a problem with, this inclination toward violence. And I know I've said it before, but so often I feel like this contingent of men on the left are perfectly happy to throw the most vulnerable in any population under the tank treads so that they can have their bloody revolution, especially children, especially disabled people. And I do think for a lot of these men, that is because they are still bringing a lot of their evangelical baggage with them. They still have this apocalyptic way of viewing politics and the world. And they also still have this very punitive mindset. I had a block a white male leftist on my Blue Sky earlier today who was saying that after all this is over, he thinks that we should take a branding iron to all Trumpers. And when questioned about it, no, he doubled down, yeah, we should physically brand all Trumpers to mark them for the rest of their lives as having voted for Donald Trump. And he didn't see any problem with that. And I got other men in the comments agreeing with him. Just no awareness of why that might be a problem. I think it's the same way when I get called a bitch in my comments by a leftist man, or I see a leftist creator call another woman a stupid bitch in a video on TikTok and have no problem with it. And other men do not call that man out.
Okay, stupid. You want to play this game? All right. Answer my question first, and then I will answer yours, you dumb bitch.
Yeah, so it doesn't surprise me when I hear people saying that we still need a Joe Rogan of the left, even after there was this discourse about it right after the election. And folks went back and forth on why that might not be the best idea. We're once again swinging back into this rhetoric that we have to save all these white boys who are getting red pilled by Joe Rogan and Andrew Tate. We've got to have the same kind of, I think Christian Divine called it scumbag podcasters on the left. Right, you just want to convert them to your political and economic stance. You just want them to become a socialist or a communist, but you still want to be able to use all of the casual misogyny and racism and ableism that appeals to them in order to draw them in. It's not really, to me, any different than what we're seeing from establishment Democrats, who were spending millions on their focus groups trying to figure out how to change their slang in order to appeal to men on the right and get them to vote for a Democrat. It's this preoccupation with we have to lure in these conservative, misogynistic, racist Gen Z men. Just this tremendous focus on evangelizing to that demographic, which of course I think speaks well about the prioritization of the patriarchy, no matter where you fall in the center or the left. So when I see a comment like this, yeah, that's what Joe Rogan of the left means. And it is a crucial missing step because it's exactly the only thing that has the ability to reach a crucial demographic that falls into the alt-right pipeline. this argument that we need like scumbag, misogynistic, male leftist podcasts in order to reach white men who are getting red pilled. I mean, I guess not just white men, because we also saw a significant uptick in the last election of young Latino men who voted for Donald Trump and have been red pilled. And like a small uptick for Black and Asian men who are Gen Z. And from what I saw, Indigenous men in that 18 to 30 age bracket did not go any more for Donald Trump than they had in the past. They were pretty stable. I think actually, I have to go back and check the numbers, but I think there was actually an uptick in voting for Kamala Harris over Joe Biden. I guess I want to know, both from centrist Democrats and from like left-leaning men, why you think that the only way to reach young Gen Z men who are being red-pilled by the Dude Bro Manosphere podcast ecosystem is to recreate your own version of the same, but either with like a Gavin Newsom centrist neoliberal kind of position, or with an anti-capitalist like, isn't Marx the greatest, and oh, also like maybe Mao was a little bit awesome too. And I guess I wonder where it is that you get this false notion that the only way to reach these young men is by throwing women and trans folks and children and disabled people under the bus and like producing your scumbag leftist bro podcasts or Gavin Newsom-esque podcast. Why do you believe that? Where does that belief come from? Because like there are people who are actually out there and have been for many, many years reaching and capturing young men before they get red pilled. And they're not abandoning socially progressive values to do it. They're not sacrificing vulnerable populations to do it. And if you want just like one example, I know I've said it before, my adult daughters and I make up probably 90% of his female fan base, but I'm a huge fan of internet comment etiquette with Eric. I think Eric has done more to save young men from being red-pilled, from being sucked down the alt-right pipeline that any Dude Bro podcaster possibly could, or any TikTok influencer possibly could. Like, yeah, he's crass, he's gross. He does a really good job of walking the line between humorous and offensive. Some of his humor is very, very juvenile. A lot of, stuff that appeals to 14-year-old boys who are in danger of being sucked down the alt-right pipeline. I know it's wild that a dude who got famous on the internet for being high as balls, smoking salvia in his car, has become a man whose career has saved God knows how many young men from being red-pilled. But that's the truth of the situation. That's part of the reason that I love him so much. I find him sweaty and repellent, and I probably would never want to talk to him in real life, but he's doing good work, and he is not sacrificing any vulnerable people to do it. Okay, I've got other shit to talk about, but go watch his videos and then tell me what you think. Tell me if truly the crucial missing step, the only way to reach Gen Z men who are in danger of getting red-pilled, is to like let sex pest men on the left make scumbag podcasts. Actually, maybe a conversation for a different video is, why is it that we are so desperate to prioritize Gen Z, especially white men, as this like holy grail of voter demographics, as the people that we have got to spend all our energy and resources? The Democratic, think tanks are spending millions of dollars trying to capture white Gen Z men. Why are we centered on that when we are looking at a time when folks who we know consistently vote for Democratic candidates or consistently vote for progressive candidates, consistently vote in a way that upholds democracy, are being disenfranchised, are experiencing gerrymandering, are being denied their right to vote? What can we do to help all of those folks who didn't vote because they experienced active voter suppression get to the polls? Why is that not the priority? Why is it this fixation on young men who have been swept up in MAGA, as if they are going to be the ones to save us, and we've got to go play Beauty and the Beast? We've got to go try and rescue them, see the good in them, and bring them around. Like, why is that the thing that y'all have pinned all your hopes on? But again, maybe that's for another video. Okay, that's enough of this topic for me for now.